Hello, everybody. Here with another book review, and this one is for Cormac McCarthy's The Road. Um, I just realized it's actually in vertical, so you probably can't, or it's in horizontal, flipped around, so you can't actually see it. But yeah. By the way, Cormac McCarthy, rest in peace. He passed away, in June, I believe, of this year. And yeah, this is probably definitely one of his darker ones, I guess, and that's saying something, because compared to Blood, I mean, Blood Meridian and that this are pretty, and No Country for Old Men are kind of, which I think are the only ones I've read so far. I'm still slowly working my way through his all his books, but I have heard that this people describing this as kind of like the most kind of um, toughest one to get into, kind of, and it is a tough read. Like it is tough. I found this probably to be the toughest read, um, and despite me actually mostly reading kind of darker novels, even this one is kind of tough to read, just because not only that, but the repetitive of it, the redundancies in it. But the redundancies are actually like motifs that actually make sense and they fit the story. So basically, it's actually written in this in a style that's very terse. I've heard people call it, describe it as the like the book version of like what basically the written kind of version of what the color gray looks like. It's very neutral and ashen, and those types of words show up a lot too. Like it's very, it's an unknown type of kind of an omniscient narrator going on, and it's described as post-apocalyptic. I can never get that word right. And it's essentially just following these a boy and his father, and then you never get their name ever. Like they never, like you never know. Like they're kind of just like these kind of phantom like apparitions that are just like not. They're just a shadow in this world that's like everything's just like nobody knows what happened. It's like it's everything's referred to kind of just like as if everything's referred to as if you are already tuned into what's happening. It's like yes, the boy and his father, they made their way down the road, hence the titular road. They keep going back to the road. That's just why I said it's kind of repetitive, but not in a bad way. It's like actually kind of, it's definitely kind of maddening in a way. You're like, you're kind of, it messes with your head a little bit because you're reading it and going back to the themes of kind of just plain ash and gray, you know, and lots of really dark alluding to things. Like, for example, like the fact that the boy and his father lose their mother, and they basically, there's a really dark part in the novel where it kind of makes sense, where they're talking, like there's a flashback. There's actually, they go back to the flashbacks of them and saying like their mother, and like, she used to do this and this, and like she was there's a um time when his father was filling up a bathtub full of water, and then she was like, what are you doing that for? And then he was like, because we're probably going to need this, like we have to get ready, we have to prepare ourselves for like what's happening. It's like that really cut deep, because it's told so like laconically, but it's so piercingly just like, oh, that's rough, which is why I think like that's great, like the why Cormac McCarthy, as um I've heard in the past, has been prone to use like compound words and kind of neologisms. I'm not sure if that's the right way of describing it, but he does put like things like he'll like tack on words, like he'll um interesting use of like like comma use, and like there's no way of like when you hear the dialogue here, it's not like put in a typical way. You see like here, for example, it's like in the floor of the room, the was a door or a hatch, and it was locked away with a large padlock made of stacked steel plates. He stood looking at it. Papa, the boy said, we should go, Papa. There's a reason this is locked. The boy pulled out his hand, and he was almost in tears. Papa, he said, we've got to eat. I'm not hungry, Papa. I'm not. We need to find a pry bar or something. So it's kind of left up to you, because it's like there's no, probably can't read that, but like there's no there's no dialogue tags, I guess you'd say. Like there's nothing indicating who's talking, but you kind of get the idea. It's told as if the um, I guess it's like experimental in a way. Um, Kind of seeing like a little bit of a similar thing going on with like Mark Z. Daniel Lucy's kind of thing, or it's maybe a postmodern or a postmodern type of thing. I think um, there's definitely, it's not hidden in like a kind of ironic. It's not layering itself deep in irony, but it's pretty stark and earnest in that sense. But it kind of, there's a kind of like a rough neck type of just very stalwart way of putting it, like stolid prose going on, but it's poetic in a sense. And some people have accused McCarthy of being very kind of flowery with his language at times. I think you've seen people say that more so about Blood Meridian, but I haven't noticed anything like that. I've heard with this, it's pretty. It does have its like kind of weirdly poetic moments, but I'd say it's like for the most part it's pretty consistent. But yeah, towards the end, in the novel, spoiler alert, there is a part where the father and they basically go on this abandoned ship, and they're trying to find resources because there's like they're just wandering down this road forever and ever and ever, it seems, and and they're just looking for whatever they can find. Everybody else that's been strongly insinuated that they're cannibals. Well, actually, it's been pretty explicit that they're cannibals because there's a tribe of the people that they just call, like the bad guys. I think pretty much they're just like, because he has to kind of tell his son, like he has to kind of keep dressing it up a little bit. Like these are the bad guys. Don't go around them. Just to avoid people and to stick by his side. And it's like kind of like you kind of feel for the dad a little bit because it's like he has to be like, yeah, it's like, okay, well, we can't, sorry, we don't have time for a bedtime story, we have to keep moving. And it's just like, we'll tell you one later. You kind of feel bad for the dad because it's like he's they don't have the wherewithal or the energy or the spirit to actually have a normal family life, like everything. Well, I guess unless you call this the new normal, the post-apocalyptic world. um Maybe this is all they know, but but it is insinuated that there was a time when things were normal and stable. But yeah, towards the end of the novel, um the boy and his father go on that ship and they find a flare gun, and they're fighting off these different kind of attackers that are coming, and the father shoots one of them with a flare gun and he ends up actually dying. And it's a very sad, morose scene that's happening when the boy is like, he has to say like, he has to say goodbye to him, and it's just very rough. That's probably the roughest part of the novel. And then towards the end, there's actually like a group, or there's actually one other man that says like, you can trust me, I'm actually not one of the bad guys, and you can you can come with me and you can follow me. And I have food, and we have more resources. That might be hard to believe, but yeah, that's been also accused of kind of being an deus ex machina, like a god of the machines type trope, where it's like, oh, not the last second, like these people magically sweep him boy up and he's fine and he's in good hands. But for the more well versed in Cormac McCarthy's like interviews and stuff that he said in the past, he has like a pretty big one he did with Oprah. She had like a book club. This might have been back when the book was released in 2006, I believe. I haven't seen the full, and I've just seen clips of it, but I think like McCartney was saying that like there are parts where it's like your life has a weird way of working out, or like things, synchronicity, I guess, or things like like he was saying, like when he was a young writer, like he was like he hadn't any money for like a toothbrush or something, or a toothpaste, and then like all of a sudden toothpaste ends up in his mail. So it's like, and yeah, it's like it kind of reminds me of Jung and synchronicity, and the scarab beetle, like a patient of his mentioning having a dream with a scarab beetle or something like that, and then with the very same creature, insect, flying into the into the room in his hands. And yeah, it's like life does have a way of doing that. I've found sometimes like things like work out kind of, and I get it's like I don't think he was not aware that he was kind of I mean, I don't think it was a cop. I don't think it was. Yeah, I mean, after all that kind of just horror and terror, it is hard to believe. But then again, it also is more of a refreshing type of ending. So yeah, yeah, I did. Um, Definitely recommend. We'll be looking to read more of McCarthy's novels pretty soon, and we'll keep you updated. And yeah, thank you for watching.